Hi, my name is Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas. This is Monday, October the 9th, 2017. I just came back from meeting J.J. Koch. He's running for the Dallas County Commissioner, District 2, 2018. And I didn't know anything about what a Dallas County Commissioner did. So I went over to talk with him about that, to find out who he was. It was wonderful to meet him. I want to meet candidates. I want to ask them questions. I had no idea what he was doing. I went in without a script. I just wanted to say, can you answer some questions? And as things go ahead, maybe some other questions will come up. I want to see how quickly, how comfortable candidates are with responding. I want to be able to look them in the eye. I want to be able to read the nonverbal clues, shake their hands. I want to know, come away, is he pandering to me, or is he a man of integrity? And is he going to be a bulldog? Is he going to fight for the right things? I will tell you, J.J. Koch, I believe that you are the person, the man of integrity, the bulldog, the man who will do the right thing, the man that we can trust in this position. I'm going to go ahead and present the very brief interview that I did with him and let it go from there. Okay.
And I'm running for Dallas County Commissioner Court, District 2.
Okay.
So, and the question that was asked me was, what does the county commissioner do?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me help you out with that.
Okay, thank you.
So that way, before you even start worrying about who do I vote for the county commissioner, you know what they're
We know what you're doing. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So, as the county government was initially conceived by the Texas Constitution, it was to enable a local governing body to handle all the things from the most basic needs of the citizen all the way up to the capstone piece of law enforcement, which is the sheriff's office, the jail, and so forth. So in large urban counties like ours, Dallas County, Bexar County, Harris County, the county government recedes and lets the municipalities that occupy all the territory around the county handle the roads, their municipal police force promoting the health and safety of those within the municipal borders, and garbage, water, sewage, and so forth.
Okay.
So the county government recedes, and what we focus on primarily in Dallas County is law enforcement. So that includes the jail and the sheriff's office.
Okay.
The courts, so the criminal courts, the civil courts, the juvenile courts, the family courts.
Okay.
The family courts are the juvenile system. And then justice administration. So I'm sure you're familiar with birth certificates, death certificates, DBAs, all of that administrative law piece is dealt with by the county, essentially legal bureaucratic processes.
Okay.
So that's 3/4 of the county's budget.
Okay.
Operating budget.
Okay.
The other quarter of the county's operating budget is a mixed bag of things. Public health, the Ebola crisis, for example.
Right.
Less than 14% goes towards that.
Okay.
There are some road and bridge crew funds that are spent on bridges between municipalities or within a municipality on major thoroughfares. So like Trinity Mills. That east-west transportation, vital to Coppell, to Carrollton, and even going out further east. The county will play a small role in that. Now, it is a small role. So typically in Texas, a lane mile costs about $1 million to put down.
Okay.
The road and bridge crew for District 2, their entire budget was about $3.5 million. So
that's not a whole,
not a lot. It's not a lot of funds.
Yeah.
So really the focus of the individual that has to sit in that seat, they need to be expert in law enforcement, our justice administration, and the courts. And I just so happen to be an expert in all three of those things.
So tell me, what is your background or your qualifications?
Sure. I was a prosecutor here in Dallas County under Mr. Hill. And then I went out into private practice, worked for a law firm, Bellinger and Wolf. There, I represented the Dallas Fraternal Order of Police and was a general litigation associate, the guy that gets dumped all the stuff to do regarding the heavy lifting in cases. Started a tech company in 2012. As that kind of petered out, I moved over to Thomson Reuters. I was doing managed litigation review with them. I moved into a leadership team for a contract lifecycle software that we had, and also worked on the sales and consulting side for our legal process outsourcing and software services. So I was selling to Fortune 500 companies, but also we worked with governmental agencies, specifically the state of Massachusetts and a couple others, helping improve their processes. During that time while I was there, that's when I got tech firm and while at Thomson Reuters got a better holistic understanding of business practices, business processes. Got my Six Sigma training, became much more savvy.
Black belt? in Six Sigma?
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet, but en route.
Yeah, en route.
Okay.
Got my project done, but yeah.
Got it.
So, but
Sorry about that.
Oh, no. Essentially, I mean, you know, that's a critical point, right? You go through your white belt in a couple of the early stages.
Right.
You get a 3,000-foot view
Yeah.
of what good process looks like and what are
Right.
the metrics you need to be looking for. Getting down and starting to do your project, you get your hands dirty, and we need someone that can get their hands dirty and look at the courts and say,
Right.
listen, this is our measurement.
Okay.
This is our holistic measurement. How many cases are going through? How many cases are going through here? This is how we determine success, and we're not reaching it. And what do we have to do? We
Okay.
need to change X, Y, Z here in the process. We need to test, remeasure, come back.
Okay.
And that type of approach in regard to the courts and justice administration is critical
Okay.
for the taxpayer's dollar.
Okay.
Because right now, the courts are wasteful. They use bad software. It doesn't talk to the other pieces of the justice system, whether it be civil or criminal. And because of that, I mean, there's basically some low-hanging fruit on efficiencies.
Okay.
That we can, reduce that budget and pass that savings on to taxpayers. But also, those greater efficiencies mean better justice. I mean, justice delayed is justice denied.
Right.
Now, there's plenty of judges that are causing part of that problem, but there's also just the administrative burden that some of these judges have. They don't handle very well.
Yeah.
We need to help them with their process, and that brings us to another kind of interesting issue: the idea of the separate sovereigns within the county government. I mean,
Okay.
I'm an elected official, right?
Okay.
If I were to be elected, all right. Lupe Valdez, Sheriff Valdez, is
Right.
an elected official. Same thing with those judges, right? So they are separate sovereigns. It is unlike being in a city where you can tell the municipal judge to do X, Y, and Z. Right? So it's critical to use the power of the purse,
Okay.
analyze the budget,
Okay.
and it is a thorny negotiation process with those
Okay.
individuals that are voted in by the taxpayer.
Okay.
So it's not a simple, do it my way or you're fired eventually. I mean,
Okay.
they can, everyone, the 4 Democrats and the 1 Republican can be unanimous regarding the sheriff needs to take a particular action, and there still could be a stalemate.
Right.
So
right.
it's critical that you not only know the art and science of what is possible in processes in someone else's department, being expert in law enforcement, being expert in courts, being expert in justice administration, but you also need to be someone who's dealt with thorny negotiations.
Right.
And that, essentially, that is one of the biggest things that I bring to the table. You also have to deal with John Wiley Price. As a litigator, as a prosecutor, I'm someone that can easily stand up to the bad guys and say, you're wrong,
Okay.
and people deserve better, and I'm going to fight you with everything I have.
Okay.
So, that'll be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And part of the conversation will also, with the separate sovereigns, telling them, listen, you're wasting taxpayer dollars, you're jeopardizing our safety, there's no more of this, this is the budget, this is where it's going to go, and if you don't like it, then,
So, a lot of what I hear you saying right now, you're dealing with budget issues with the courts and so on. I guess my question would be, and if I'm way off base, just let me know.
Sure.
But my question would be is, these systems are set up because people are going to be going there.
Right.
Now, you might have efficiencies and everything else, but there's a lot of times that people feel like injustices are committed against them.
Sure.
In particular, I mean, you've mentioned criminal court, you've mentioned civil court,
Sure.
family court you mentioned as well.
Yep.
I know that the biggest complaints come out of family courts.
Yeah.
Injustices, I know that in issues of, say, for example, of divorce, there is a respondent who does not want the divorce, who feels that he or she has absolutely no due process protections under the 5th and the 14th Amendment, were granted those, and that respondent is like, I can't do anything to stop
Right.
this. There's been one study that said about 75% of the no-fault divorce or the unilateral divorce cases, that one person did not want the divorce, and the percentages are even higher for the children.
Yeah.
So how do you protect their due process rights in Texas? Because the reality is, right now, I think the law for example, for unilateral divorce should be repealed because it's unconstitutional. There are no due process protections. Is that a loaded question? Is that a question easy to understand?
it's easy to understand.
Okay.
There's a number of pieces in it, so let's unpack it a bit.
Absolutely.
So regarding funding those courts to
Okay.
be better stewards of justice, it requires essentially taking some of the administrative burden off of the individual courts, making sure judges aren't spending a lot of time having to think about, and the areas where I'm going to be able to help improve efficiencies are not
Right.
going to be directly regarding some of the law and case law. I mean, so there's going to be
Right.
Texas statute and case law. I can't do anything to affect that.
Okay.
I can affect how efficiently the courts run, so judges have more time and energy to devote toward making the right decisions. If you are hurried, and this happens in the criminal system, this is very, a lot. Judges have a lot of cases to get through. The easiest thing to do is to deny defendants' requests, because typically that puts them back in the situation where I have to take a plea bargain. So there's a default setting.
And actually that plea bargain, that's very interesting that you mentioned that, because I think that there's a lot of injustice on that. I've known people that have been given a plea bargain, something that they were innocent on, and yet they were told that, hey, you're going to either plead, the plea bargain is this, you take 3 to 4 years, or we're going to get you and we're going to put you in for 25 years. And regardless of the fact, the person is innocent, so he has to take 3 to 4 years because he has no other choice.
There are certain defaults that do cause a great deal of problems in the criminal justice system.
How can you fix those, or can you?
Well, one of the things that you can do is make sure that you properly fund indigent defense. Now, I know that's not hugely popular, but and this is
important.
This is not anything extravagant, because there are people who will plead to lesser charges or plead to charges just to get out, and they will wear the badge of being a criminal.
Even though they've done nothing.
Even though in some instances they've done nothing.
Right.
I defended police officers, many of which, it's not divulging anything, who were convicted of crimes and are spending time in the state penitentiary. All right. I also defended individuals that were private, free world defendants who were so unbelievably innocent, not guilty, innocent. I mean, and in many of those instances, by the grace of God, we found a way to suppress the evidence, or something was hanky and it got dropped out. There's everything in between. It's critical that the system works and functions properly. It means electing good judges that are going to follow the law. All right, so that's going to be a big part of it. That's probably going to be the biggest part of it, because they are largely the breakdown. They have to use more of their energy, use more of their time to listen to and hear more cases, to spend more time on the bench to make sure that these things can develop in fruition.
I hear what you're saying. The thing
that I can do is make sure I relieve their administrative burden such that they can sit on the bench longer, they can have to worry about less administrative duties, and they know that their court is running efficiently with better processes. Beyond that, of course, I can do my part as an active Republican to make sure that bad judges get removed from the bench. And that we do everything we can to put forth Republican candidates that believe in the rule of law and believe in our classical constitutional rights.
Right. So, for example, let me just go to something. It's going to be kind of along the same lines. I mean, I have actually filed a complaint against a Republican judge in another area, because I think that what he did was wrong, and actually he's being under investigation right now. So,
that happens.
Right. And I mean, maybe he thought he was doing the great thing. He was going to, clear his docket. He was going to improve his efficiencies. But what do people do who have been deprived of justice? One police officer told me, from his perspective, about 5% of the people in prison were innocent people. He recited a report, and he said, and if they're telling us this, it's really more like 10 or higher. There have been some studies to indicate, particularly in the federal system, that may be the case. People take plea deals in the face of and I would argue in Texas too, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, Texas, we have greater flexibility, particularly first-time offenses, to defer adjudication, probation, where people can get on with their lives. So I think we have a little bit less of a problem than the federal system does. Regardless, there's bad guys that need to go to jail. There's people that get caught up in the system that don't belong there. I don't know for sure what those percentages are, but it's incumbent upon us to make sure that the courts get it right, and when you see wrongdoing, you make sure it's investigated quickly.
If you're the person that it's happening to, it may as well be 100%, because it's 100%. And I had a situation with a Dallas police detective. He knew I was innocent of everything, but rather than just saying, I'm dropping all these charges,
he was going to throw it to the grand jury and let them decide.
Well, yeah, or no, what he decided to do was to throw it to a traffic misdemeanor court, and I'm like, this is crazy. And but there's no accountability. So that detective, if he gets if I pay my $500, he gets a little notch on the back of his belt. Hey, you got another one. City gets a little bit extra money. I still get deprived. I had to spend $4,000 to defend myself over something I didn't do that he knew was a lie, and there's no accountability for him. So I'm sorry that, I mean, I'm going off. It's a little bit of an emotional subject right now.
No, it's difficult for everyone involved in the system.
Right.
I mean, it's similarly very frustrating for victims.
Yeah.
Who, let's turn the other side of that. Someone who is clearly guilty.
Absolutely.
Clearly guilty, and there's,
I agree with you.
Yeah, and there's that situation as well.
Right.
The court system is always going to be highly charged when it comes to emotions because someone has lost something dear to them. You're not there for a civil lawsuit unless something is really important, and you're not there regarding the criminal piece unless something, for the most part, really bad has happened.
Yeah.
So regarding the terrible emotions,
I think it's the false allegations and the fact that people can commit perjury, and there's no punishment for perjury in Texas.
Well, there is, but
I haven't seen it. If it is, it's very, very few people that actually have that.
It's on the books, and it's one of those things where it's difficult to prosecute.
Right. It's impossible.
You got to prove it, right? So, really, getting back to
I know. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important that I do the things to make sure that courts can be successful. If they do things that are unconstitutional, illegal, or just in some way wrong, it is my job to step in, make sure that people know about it, talk to the auditor, make sure that that information sees the light of day.
Right.
Daylight's going to be the most important thing that I can do regarding systemic injustices in the court system. People make mistakes in both directions, and I highly value the rule of law.
Right.
It needs to be just down the middle. It's Lady Justice is blind. We need to do our best as we can to separate our personal biases and do the right thing for the greater society.
And if we make a bad decision, we quickly correct it.
Yeah, and it goes to the appellate court and it gets changed. I mean, there's the system is in place to fix problems.
Yeah.
Often the problem is that justice delayed ends up being justice denied. Someone can't afford to appeal, or it's incumbent upon attorneys to make sure that those without resources, they do their pro bono work and get out there and help those individuals to make sure that justice is done.
So you've just mentioned attorneys as well here, and I mean, one of the complaints that I hear a lot from people is attorneys that are unethical. So what do you do with them? Because I mean, there are times, and this is really what happens. The attorney says, "Hello, Judge so-and-so," and he says, "Hi, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Charlie." I mean, what are they? They're buddies? Are they eat lunch together?
Yeah.
I mean, so and the reality
it's a small
is,
community.
the reality is though that if you have a relationship with that judge, and if you're an attorney who maybe contributes to his campaign, you're going to find more favorable rulings. So what does that do to the person who does not know that this attorney has contributed to this judge's campaign, and he's going to be in a better footing because the other person is going to be in a... What do you do in this instances?
It's possible. It is exactly...
it's more than possible, but anyway, go ahead.
No. I mean, in the specific instance,
right.
There's instances that it surely is possible that happens, and that's exactly why some states appoint rather than elect.
Yeah.
My personal feeling is I think Texas should move to a more Missouri-style system where judges are appointed, but then they are subject to recall elections, or essentially at statutorily defined times, they go back up on the ballot and they get a yea or nay from the people. If they get a nay, then someone else appoints, the governor or whoever the appointing body would be.
So tell me, give me your your 1 minute speech. Why anybody should vote for you versus I don't even know who your opponents are. And it's like I said, I'm a Republican.
Sure.
So.
I'm the only person that's expert on things that matter to the Commissioner's Court. That is the courts, law enforcement, and justice administration. If you were to talk to the other two opponents in this case, they would not be able to carry on a conversation like we just had. They wouldn't be able to begin to scratch the surface of the problems that are created in the courts through no fault of any one individual. These are just naturally the problems that occur in the justice system, right? It's not, even absent corruption or absent any stupidity, right? Creating proper incentives and getting these things fixed is about being an expert in the courts. Same thing with criminal justice system. I mean, making sure that we're doing, when someone says, hey, we want to, reduce funds to our public integrity division within the district attorney's office. Oh, no. Because we need people examining what police officers are doing and letting them know, hey, listen, you're going to be held accountable at some point if something goes off the rails. Keeping the rules of the game fair is that's the job of the person sitting 30,000 feet back,
Right.
funding all the pieces that need to be in place, and making sure when hey, this is a squeaky wheel, we investigate. We use the power of the auditor to investigate what's going on here. Is there money connections? Was something wrong? The other candidates aren't even close to that. They have no understanding of how this thing works. They don't understand these critical aspects of really what affects people's lives. Because when you look at, answer me this: would you live in this city if you had to bar your front door and bar your windows, and you were guaranteed to be a victim of crime over a 5-year period? Would you stay? Would you move?
No, I would be moving.
No. So all the economic development, any other piece doesn't exist without your personal safety. No one lives in a place where they're not safe.
Yeah.
And that is the most important and critical job of the county government.
Yeah.
And to put someone on that commissioner's court that doesn't know anything about it is to cede our voice to our most essential piece of our freedom, our safety. So,
And I appreciate that. And, the other thing that I know that I'm looking for, which I gather from you right now, and I've only met you this first time here, integrity and courage. I don't want people that are going to play the political game. I want people that are going to be...
No, I'm going to tell it how it is.
If I need to be a bulldog, it's going to be a bulldog. And if I'm unpopular or nobody likes me, that's the way it is, too.
Right.
So
I'm here for doing what's right.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Great mayor.